Please stand and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2, presentations. Congratulations to high school girls volleyball team, state runner-up, and high school boys cross-country team, state champions.
Very good. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming today. We just wanted to take a moment to honor you. Both programs had awesome years. So let's start with volleyball, ladies first. And so Coach Cagle, I'm going to let you speak for a little bit.
Well, I also want to introduce, I have 3 of our seniors here. So we have Rayleigh, Ava, and Lucy. And as runner-up, I did bring a gift for your office so that you can take that and exchange that. But yes, we just want to say thank you to the board and administration for just your support. And this isn't just like a one-year thing that has been happening. And these girls can attest to, like, this has been several years of just lots of time and hard work and effort and even money and hours out in 100-degree temperatures, running those time mile and a half to get our fitness in. And so this was just kind of the icing on the cake, and I'm glad that it happened to be their senior year that they got to experience it. These are young ladies that have been a part of the program ever since they were able to start as middle schoolers, and some even coming to my camps and clinics even way before that, and having siblings involved in the program. And so I'm just super proud of them and all the hard work that they put into it. And again, thank you guys, thank you for your support. I think they would agree too. It was pretty cool to be able to play in front of the crowds that we got to play in during playoffs, and even have that opportunity of not having school so that people could come support us. That's definitely the biggest crowd that we've ever got to play for and that I've ever coached in. So again, thank you, we really appreciate that. So
very good. Congratulations. And Coach Colson, we'll let you speak about cross country a little bit. I don't know what's got working back there, but
it's not easy. Okay. So 6 of my 7 runners came today. 5 of them are seniors. So I've got Cole Powell, senior, Levi Johnson, Mason Wyatt, Nolan Staten, Sebastian. You like Ireland, 4-1 order there. And Oliver Thompson. These are 6 of the 7 runners. We wanted to give you guys each a picture of our state championship picture and signed it. So I wanted to give you guys that. You guys.
Thank you.
That's so much.
That's right.
Okay.
next year when we're champions, I'll give you.
Levi, we'll ignore him. So when I got this job last year, so thank you for bringing me on. I kind of looked up the roster and looked at their times, and I told them last May that I believed in them and we're going to go for a state title this year. And they all looked at me like, no, we're not, Coach. And I kind of poured it out in them. It took 18 months of extreme hard work. Last year, getting 3rd kind of motivated them. We got extremely lucky with Lincoln Christian bumping up to 5A. It was between us and Cash. And we had a game plan. Dr. Bellows talked to me the week of state about thoughts on the state. And I said, we have a game plan. And it's Cole and Levi sticking with their number 1. Mason, or my number 3, being with their number 2. And then Nolan and Sebastian, my 4 and 5, being in front of their 4. And it's exactly how it went. And so I was extremely proud of them. They came every day, dedicated, hard work. Running's not easy. And summer miles is where it works out in the season. And they got up at 5:30, 6 a.m. And we spent a lot of time with each other. We went to Lawton one time to run up Mount Scott. Have you ever been to Mount Scott? Myself, Cole, and Levi ran up the whole thing without stopping. Hands down, the hardest run I've ever been on in my life. And I ran a marathon a month ago, and Mount Scott was harder than that. That mindset, though, kind of motivated them that I can do anything that's possible. State was really awesome. I remember yelling at them at the 3K mark that legends are made right here, and they listened to me and it worked. I was proud of them. They deserve this. I know other kids around the state work hard, but I think these seven worked harder than anyone in the entire state and it paid off. So,
Comments? guys?
Just congratulations.
Yes, it was awesome.
To both teams.
Yes.
What
Congratulations.
the coaches that have worked hard. I know Carrie's worked hard for many years and had her team in the state. And so to be the runner-up and get to that game was special, I know. It's awesome.
Well, and I'll say too, there was a lot of pressure on both of these teams. The volleyball team had a lot of pressure. It was kind of a word whisper started getting out about school and no school. So I know really, really pleased that you guys gave them a bonus day there. But there was a lot of pressure with that. I know that. But you guys just played through that. And then cross country, same thing. You know, I know there's a lot of whispers about, hey, you got a shot at it. There's a lot of pressure to perform there. We talked at the beginning of the year about, you know, just representing Bethany, and I would tell you both teams, it was so much fun to watch you guys play. The intensity, the competitive spirit that you had, and the way you did that too was the right way. And that means as much to me as the accolades that you guys have received. But congratulations, thank you for representing Bethany so well. Very good. Yeah. Thank you. You guys have a great night. You can stay for the rest of the meeting if you want. You don't have to. So, yeah.
You got 'em all. Item 3, discussion of visual trip with presentation from Dr. Don Winrock.
Very good. So I'm going to start a little bit. One thing we want to do is just have a discussion. This is a non-action item, so we won't be voting on anything tonight. We don't have to decide anything tonight. Just want to have a conversation because I know you guys are having conversations with some current kids who, are in the midst of this, and you're also having some discussions about future trips. And so I know we would like to just hear a little bit of updates, perspectives, ideas. Nothing against take action on tonight, but just to give us some thoughts as we move forward and things to consider as we might need to take action at some point on some of these things. So, Dr. Winrock.
Well, I'll just say, we never won a state title or even came in second, so it's got to be the leadership. That's got to be what the difference maker there. Well, we, of course, talked with Dr. Bellows about this trip that was planned for this December and first part of January, and just felt like there was just absolutely no way that's a possibility, and that even if the war ended tomorrow, just the grieving and the process of healing that nation's going to have to go through, we just didn't feel like there was a way in the world we could do it. We found out since that the school that we are hosted by they participate in 15 to 16 other international exchanges with other schools, mostly in Europe and the UK. And Piper was visiting with one of the past sponsors that has come, and evidently they are going to have exchanges this coming February in 3 months. So they are anticipating a quick end to this war. But still, there's just no way we are planning anything like that. And so during the COVID times, we had the on again, off again, on again, off again kind of things with the kids, and it was just so hard on our families and our kids that we felt like it was the right thing to do is just to say we're just not planning on this group of kids traveling this year. Since they are all but one juniors, there would be a possibility for this group to travel next year during the Christmas holidays. Jacob Bell, he'll be a freshman in college, but if he would want to, he would still have that ability to travel during his Christmas break because it would fall into the right time period there. We don't know what the future is going to hold and when this thing is going to wind down. It eventually will, and just like it always does, will calm down. We typically start recruiting our students for the next school year in January. It's a 6-week process. The ones of y'all, well, I know Kent, you're aware of how we do this, but anyway, so we meet with, usually we start out with a little over 20, 23 kids that are interested. And, you know, just personally, Seth's gonna be a sophomore, so he would be, my grandson, one of my oldest grandson would be one of these kids that would possibly have a chance to go next year. If I can, I don't know if he's wants to do that or not, but I sure am kind of relying on it a little bit. So, but anyway, so the only thing that we would ask you to consider is, for sure, as a parent, I wouldn't want to send Seth not knowing it was safe. I'm sure not. We're not going to go if we don't feel like it's a safe situation. The country won't let us come if they don't feel like it's a safe situation. And so, I mean, at this point of the time of the year, we're not asking for you to grant us permission to go. I think what we would like for you to consider is allowing us the ability to recruit in our normal time frame, so that our kids can start raising money for that potential trip. The majority of our kids have to earn their way, which we want it to be that way. We want them to have skin in the game, so they feel like it's not a vacation, it's not just a let's go have a great time. And so we encourage the parents to make them work for it, and as a result, it's a life-changing experience for them. So what we would like to ask is, and I don't know if it could even be, you could give us the elbow or by the 1st of January, we'd like to let them know in the past, every year, the last 10 years, we'd like to let them know before spring break, so that if they are chosen, they might defer going on ski trips or mission trips, or they can start working, looking for jobs, so that they can start figuring out how we're going to get there. But it's such a, well, and Kent can testify to all this stuff, but I mean, when you take these kids to places where it's pretty certain Jesus walked through up these steps, or was in this place, or when. Anyway, I won't get into all that. I can wrap that up after about 45 minutes. So anyhow, that's what we would like, is just the ability to start recruiting with the understanding that only when you feel like it's safe, when the country feels like it's safe, Israel, that we could make firm plans. But we would travel just like we have for the past probably 5 or 6 years. I kind of lost track, during Christmas break, so that our kids don't miss any academic time. In fact, even our athletes, Sam Brand, our starting quarterback and starter on the basketball team, traveled with us one year, finished second in the state in football, and he didn't miss a lick, and I don't think they would. So that's the reason why we go in December, so that our athletes can travel and not feel like they'd be punished or anything like that. So, any questions that you would have about either the program, if this is kind of a new thing for you, or if just anything that we could help you with there.
Yeah.
So are you talking about recruiting a new group and then going with the old group too?
That would be probably what we would want. The group that would be traveling in about 2 weeks, they have all of their money raised, they have everything ready to go. Okay, and what I would say is, with the understanding from our host school that they would be able to host all 20
Right.
of us. I mean, they might not feel like they could do that. I don't know. All of this also, I mean, as much as we are ready to go, this is going to turn a lot around what's going on in Israel, and so we understand that. And if we were as a country going through that stuff right now, this would be the last thing on my mind. We're just wanting to be prepared, so that when it becomes safe and this conflict is over, we'd be ready to go. That's a good question.
The recruitment process is 7 weeks,
7.
and to get everything, all 7 meetings in before spring break, we like to announce before tests, that Wednesday before spring break. To get all 7 of those meetings in, we need to have our presentation to the sophomores on January the 10th.
So you all would have a meeting before that.
Day before, yeah.
Yeah.
Day before.
Usually what I do is we will have our past ambassadors do an assembly in front of the sophomore class because they travel as juniors. They will do a presentation about their experience. Luckily, we still have 8 seniors that have been, so they would do the presentation to the sophomore class. The week before that, I usually go in and talk to the pre-AP English classrooms. It's not just available to the pre-AP kids, but we always feel like those kids have to work so much harder in their classes. There's a little bit of a perk to get a personal invitation from me, and so the teacher lets me in and lets me kind of answer questions a little bit more in a group of 25 instead of 130. So we've really got this process down pretty smooth, and in fact, there are a lot of schools around the state that copy what we have, and we're very generous to let them. They don't have to reinvent things. We gladly give them our selection tools and rubrics, things like that, so that it helps them. Other questions?
So I would guess what action is required is I'm saying in January there would be, is there, in January would there be action required, and what does that motion look like? What has it looked like in the past in January?
It'd be for, you know, we'd say out-of-state travel, but it would be for the travel of it to approve that, which we'd want to do before they start announcing anything. So we had that, you know, we've had that in the past, so it'd be similar action to what we've done, but it would basically be approving the trip like we would if a team was going to Kansas to do something. We would approve it the same way. That's what the action would be. I've got a question. You know, I think, you know, I kind of hear the desire to start a process with the unknowns that come down the road. And we're kind of in that situation right now with a group that is currently, you know, this situation's been created for them. So what are the contingencies for that group? One, to be upfront with them of, hey, if we approve this and people are signing up, here's what's at risk for you. If you sign up and you commit to this and we start fundraising, here's what risk you have with that. Mm-hmm. And then what are the risks associated with the group right now if we get to a point where it's, hey, you know, we still don't feel good about this next December. What happens to those kids? And that would be important to me because I wouldn't want to put a group in that position if it's a bad situation. Mm-hmm. If it's not a bad situation, there may not be much risk involved, and then it's, well, I mean, people can say they want to sign up if in the end there's not much loss when we say we're not letting you go.
Correct.
Which is a possibility.
Absolutely.
Okay, so talk
well,
about
that's just like this year. I mean, just because last January we were given permission to go, if at any time we just don't feel like, I mean, we were in consultation and we kind of decided together, we just need to call this off. Well, that's always the possibility. So just giving permission here in a month doesn't mean that it couldn't be stopped at any point that we don't feel like it's safe. And the group that was selected for this year, we've been upfront. We've had parent meetings, several during this fall, to keep them abreast of what's going on and the situation that we hear from our hosting school over there. And you know, the worst case scenario, and that's what we've kind of told them, the worst case scenario is you graduate with about $4,500. Well, probably a little bit less than that because we wouldn't send them with Oki's gift, probably. Yeah. So probably $3,500, which would be an incredible senior trip. So, they may decide the friendships that they've made with these Israeli kids. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to travel when they feel like it's a safe time, because those families love our kids and love our families here. So they talk back and forth before the Israeli kids come. So they've already kind of bonded, and so that's what I would say is, and we're sure not wanting to be covert and be sneaky about what's going on here just to recruit kids. We want kids that are the best kids that we can take, which we've always done. We feel like we've taken the very best of the best kids in the school, and so. You know, I just say we would always be upfront with, once we, let me back up a second. So let's say we have the assembly, we tell the students at that assembly, you're gonna have to write us a letter and explain why you should be selected to go to Israel. That's due on Friday of the week of the assembly. The next Monday or Tuesday, we have a parent meeting for all of the kids who have asked to be in the process. And then we tell those parents that are getting ready to help their kid. I mean, if Seth came home and said, I'm thinking about going to Israel next year. If I didn't know what was going on, I was like, what? And so we want to talk to the parents right off the bat before we start the process of selecting kids. Well, then when we get to the end and we make our selection of our 10 kids, usually, and 2 alternates, we'll have another parent meeting before they head out and explain to them, okay, here's the deal. And those are all perfect chances to be able to explain to them just exactly what you're talking about, Dr. Bell, is about, here's the game plan. We're gonna have to be flexible enough to be able to, maybe by that time, there's gonna be a little bit more of a resolution here, but at least we'd know a little bit more by then to be able to be upfront.
And I talk to our travel agent on a pretty regular basis, and I know the deadlines, the financial deadlines. And so I watch very closely the deadline for the refunds. We have to cancel before this date to get a full refund, or we cancel by this date to only lose our $250 deposit per child. So the group that we have signed up now, that $250 deposit has been made, and so we did not make our final payment, and that everything that they have paid in will apply to the next trip, and we haven't missed a deadline. We're still only in it for $250 for the current group.
Is there another deadline
So
upcoming?
it's always the deposit. The final payment, once you've made the final payment, then you can't get a refund. So before that final payment came due this time, we had a conversation, I talked to the travel agent, I talked to Dawn, and we decided to cancel before that final payment came due. So the kids have not lost any money other than the $250 yet, and it will be the same for next year's group. If we get to go before that final payment is due, we're still in it for only the $250 deposit.
Okay.
Another thing about selecting our kids and starting to make plans is we get a much better price on airfare and all of that stuff. I mean, to the tune of several $100s per kid, maybe $500 a kid. We can save up each family by kind of getting ahead of the game a little bit and, again, planning ahead. So that's just another dynamic. It's complicated, and it'd be nice if there was just easy answers to problems in education, huh?
Who makes the decision on their end? The government, the school that we partner with, both?
Both, I would say. There's the lady that's kind of in charge of all of their exchange programs. That's all she does is handle exchanges. Her name's Hedva. And so Hedva is the one who coordinates it, and just like here, David doesn't have to be involved in every meeting that we have, and we keep him abreast of what's going on. Well, Hedva does, I'm sure, the same thing with the school officials there. She has to clear through the school officials as far as what's going on. But their Department of Education, it's not ministry.
Ministry of
It's like
Education.
Harry Potter, the Ministry of Education.
In connection with the Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
They work together with the school.
Yeah. So, well, just think about what horrible PR that would be for tourism, to have a bunch of tourists hurt. So, I mean, even when we're over there, our daily schedule has to be cleared through those two groups of people before we're allowed to travel into certain places.
Every day.
Every day, every day. So if we're going to the Dead Sea, which is down there south, before we head out that way in the morning, they clear that with the Department of Tourism Ministry. I just love saying that. The Ministry of Tourism and Education. So, I mean, and we travel with a guard. It's just standard procedure. That's just what you do.
And so, do you have to find out how many people they'll be willing to take? Let's say it is 20, or they say, we can only do 15.
Well, the standing thing is 10. But we tell the kids when we start selecting, first of all, we're not going to travel with people we don't feel safe with. We're not going to take juniors to the other side of the world that we don't feel like we can trust and won't follow instructions and things like that. So there have been years we only take 8. But then there's other years where it's like, man, we've got so many great kids, and so we'll call, well, not call, but well, sometimes we do, and say, we've got 12. Can you host 12, or can you host 14? 14 is the most we've taken.
Well, she's called us before and said, can you increase it to 14?
That's true.
So we work closely with
We
her.
just kind of the average that we shoot for is 10, but then as we start to identify our students in this selection process, this just isn't who writes the best letter. We had moms write letters in the past that we caught, but we look to see who are the kids that will benefit the most from the trip.
Yeah. Well, I was meaning, with the past group, and is there another 10? I mean,
Well,
could they
and I talked to
20?
Hedva about that, and she said, well, this was when I talked with her, this conflict had just really flamed up. They weren't even in school. And so she goes, I don't know. Maybe we can host both groups, but I won't know to tell you that until we get back in school and kind of make some sense of things.
Our current group is already matched, so our kids have hosted the Israelis already, so they're already matched with Israelis.
Okay.
So the real question, I think, would be, can each of those kids that we hosted this year, can they turn around and host our kids next year?
Yeah. And so far, none of the families have been directly affected by the war. Again, what would you say if, an older sibling had been killed, and that could be a dynamic in a family that. So that's just one of those things we'll just have to wait and see. But the great thing, like we've done here in the past, sometimes if one person can host 2, sometimes girls host boys, and as long as there's a male in the home, then we feel like that's an okay thing to do. Same thing over there. So if there was a situation where one family felt like they couldn't host, that's already been matched up, there's a possibility that there could be doubled up.
I will say, having a family member also a part of this process here, the getting to host part is probably a third of, their whole trip, just that experience of having someone come stay with them. So the fact that this group currently might just stand to lose $250, really, I don't see that as a loss, because they got to experience that, and that's a big deal for them to come, and it's a school-wide thing, really.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would think that would not be at risk
Mhm.
if there are people in Israel who are willing to come. At least that part of the trip is going to be worth your $250 deposit, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
And so I know for this current group, I feel great that the only thing that might be lost is $250 if they don't ever get to go. And maybe that's something for a future group that is in consideration, that, hey, maybe we don't ever get to go to Israel, but maybe they get to come and host, and that's just a part of it. So that's why I ask about the risk, because it might change the thought process of, I know myself and this board will ultimately have to make a decision about whether we're okay with sending kids to Israel or not. I would personally say I'm not anywhere close in my mind to be saying, yeah, let's send some kids to Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know what would change that or when that will change, but I know there's more to that experience. And so I think communication is key, upfront is key. What they are going to be able to participate in, regardless of what we decide down the road. I want to be cautious too, because as decision makers, I think when we say we're okay with something, we're also giving off the impression that it's okay, it's safe. So I just don't want to take that decision lightly. Personally, I know this board does not want to take that decision lightly, because I think we're making a statement when we say that, yeah, we're okay with this trip. And I would want to be very clear that what we possibly would be saying, at the very least, would be saying, we're okay exploring this trip. But I would personally say I'm far from saying I'm okay even getting the hint that I feel like kids are safe going to Israel. I mean, I'm so far from believing that right now. I think the decision ahead of us as early as January would be, are we okay even exploring the idea of this down the road? That may never happen, and if everyone understands that and is okay with what part of the experience they may get to participate in, you know, that for me personally would be the only thing I would even be thinking about regarding any trip, would be that part, knowing that, you know, I don't know if a year from this month, a year from now, that I would still be okay. I don't know that, to be honest, yet, but.
You know, when at another school, we had an exchange school with South Korea, and after it's kind of like what we do in Israel, after we did our exchange with this school down in the southern part, southeast part of the country, well, the adults, we toured a little bit, and we went up to the DMZ, and one of the things when you go to the DMZ, you have to sign a paper, and you say, we understand that the United States of America and the Republic of South Korea cannot guarantee our safety. So it's like, no, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to go here or not. But you know, for sure, and maybe that's something we could do from now on, is just make sure there is some kind of a sign off with families so that they understand, you know what, they're accepting the risk. I mean, they don't have to send their kids. That's a family decision. So I would think that would relieve you of legal liability. Probably have to check with Andy. But
Well, and I would say to that, to me, it's not even about that, because I think, you know, whether technically that's all true and liability, like I can't live with that, right?
That's exactly right.
That would be, because I think what I would be saying again, and I'm not saying that I'm against hoping that this can work out, but I think if I say as superintendent, hey, we're okay with you guys going, I think that's a message I'm sending to parents and to kids, saying, I think it's okay and safe for you to go. And to a parent who, you know, hasn't given as much thought, or, you know, I know that these are their kids, but it might give them a false sense of security, saying, well, I guess if the board and Dr. Bellows thinks this is safe and okay, maybe I should believe that. And everyone can make their own decision, but I do feel like in that boat you're making a statement of, hey, we believe it's safe. Because to me it's more about, you know,
oh, I've got you. I know what you're saying.
keeping kids safe. I mean,
As a
ultimately,
personal-
keeping kids safe.
absolutely. You don't want to put anybody in harm's way.
Right.
We
But
wouldn't
that
either.
doesn't mean we can't explore even giving them hope that it's
Right.
a possibility. So,
Right.
and I would just leave that to a vote of the board, and as to whether we even want to open that option, so.
Well, you understand the dynamics of where we are.
Right, yeah.
So that we can get started and start making some plans with the understanding that until we feel like it's a safe time to go, we won't go. But we'll just be ready in case that opportunity presents itself.
So I might just ask the opinion of the board, you know, as far as having that on the agenda, and taking the possibility of approving a trip like that with all the things we've heard, you know, are you okay having that on the agenda? And then we have a month to think about that and process that and bring more questions, if we have them, and again, making a vote, which, I could see going either way, and I think that's perfectly fine too. You know, I think that's why you have, you know, 5 board members, because sometimes the decisions are tough, and I think that would be a tough one, but, any direction the board would have on, you know, just having that as an agenda item to have further discussion and possibly, just making a decision so that we can move on either way. Any thoughts about that as a board, or okay with putting that on the next agenda, in January?
I'd like to see it on the agenda
Yeah.
for January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think it has to approve the trip. I think
Right.
it could also be approving, starting the process with a decision to be made at some future day.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, feel good about that.
Yeah.
Any other questions on one?
No, I just make a comment, Don and Piper, thank you guys so much for the many years of doing this. I know it's an incredible trip, and thanks for all of your efforts and your willingness to battle through this deal right here. And so thank you.
You're welcome. Probably the worst part is just traveling, being away from grandkids over Christmas break. Seriously.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Year after year, for sure, yeah.
So, anyway, okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys for your
Thank
time.
you.
And we'll be
Thank you.
happy if you want us to return next, you know, in January, then
I would tell you plan on it, just because there may be some good questions that we want to clarify, so if
Sure.
that's okay and you have time.
is it?
January
I heard
9th.
You're going on Tuesdays next year.
We are, we're switching to second Tuesday of the month, so January
I got an
9th,
inside source.
January 9th at 6 o'clock,
Okay, here?
right here.
Okay, perfect.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to call me anytime.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Item 4, call to order and establish quorum. I believe since all members are present, we have quorum. Consent agenda. 5A is the minutes,
Yeah.
the last board meeting. Any comments or corrections? 5B, financial fund reports.
All right, so I'll just start. We have an ending balance in our activity fund, on the activity fund, a summary sheet of 633,000 roundabout. Last year we had an ending balance of 554,000, so we have a little bit more on hand than we did last year, which is good. We've also paid a lot of invoices, so that looks well. Next, we have the summary of accounts. And as you flip through, it will show you just where each account is, each activity account is, and how much money they have. And then it has the same information on the back page of the summary accounts as the initial page. Any questions for me on the activity fund? Okay. I'm gonna move on to the function summary report. We are looking good. There are no negatives, so that's always a great thing.
Always a positive.
That's always a positive thing. We are right on track. Our estimated, we're following our estimated needs well. I think we did a good job with that. So that all looks pretty good. And then as far as our general fund revenue tracking sheet goes, we are still up a little bit more in the foundation incentive aid. That's gonna be the same every month just because our foundation amount is higher due to the teacher pay raise, so we're gonna always have a little bit more money coming in each month because of that. And then let me see if there was anything that stood out to me. All of our collections are mostly right at the same, or maybe a little bit more. There aren't any that are just extremely more, extremely less in terms of anything besides the foundation incentive aid. For our federal programs, you're not going to notice any change other than we have had some of our child nutrition funds come in. We have been able to claim child nutrition funds. We are having, the entire state is having trouble getting federal claims processed. So we have not received federal money in any other project besides child nutrition. But that is not unique to us, it's everybody across the state. And then as you continue on, I believe the next item you're gonna see is the change order report, and this is a new report that you have not seen before. So instead of, a lot of times what will happen is if we run out of money on a purchase order, we'll submit a new purchase order. But you can actually do a thing where you do a change order report, and so instead of creating new purchase orders, we just make a change and we bring the change to you to approve. So you're going to see some changes. We lowered some POs that we were going to close out. We didn't need that much money on them, and then every now and then we just have to increase one by a few dollars because sometimes things just end up costing more if it's not on sale anymore. So there's a few changes there for you. And then we have the purchase orders for your approval. And we're starting at number 524. If you were in earlier on Friday, someone came in last minute and said, I really need to get this on the board agenda. So I had this report in there, but then we had to add a couple, and when I came back, I accidentally put all the purchase orders on there, but it should be fixed for you now and starting
I'm
at
not crazy.
524.
I thought the same thing.
No.
I said, where are we gonna start right here?
No.
Well, I saw some
Back in
things, I'm like,
July.
that doesn't seem like something we've done
Yeah.
recently.
No,
Thank
it was a mistake. At the last minute, someone needed something on, and so I uploaded the wrong one. But it should be corrected for you now.
Excellent.
And then I'm just gonna flip through here and see if there's anything. And you tell me if there's anything that you have a question about.
On 538, the winter weather snow ice removal gear, is that just for,
It is for our maintenance personnel. It's to just make sure that they have things they can put on their boots that'll keep them from falling down, because we don't want
Oh,
any
yeah.
workers' comp issues or anything like that. To make sure that they are properly clothed when it's like negative degrees outside. So,
Yeah.
and I don't anticipate spending $3,000, but I don't know, till it comes in. So
Yeah.
that's a generous amount. I don't believe that it'll be that much.
oh, okay. I didn't know if that was like salt for the.
No, we actually, I think on last month did the salt and,
Okay.
and all of that. So no, it doesn't include that. It's for just, it could be like things for their boots, it could be shovels, or it could be some supply that they needed. It's something like that,
Okay.
if we just need in general.
Yeah, thank you.
And then on 590 and 591, when we have, when we're paying out personnel mileage for district travel, would those items have been on for been approved for their travel at a previous board meeting, or how would that have?
So this is for like these two in particular. It's not, these would not be a travel approval. It is for our in-district travel. These ladies travel back and forth to the bank.
Okay.
And so we're compensating them for their mileage back and forth to the bank.
Sure.
And we don't typically do a trip request for that, but that's what these are for in particular. And it's for the whole year. It isn't just for one trip. So it should cover a school year of
Okay.
that mileage.
Okay.
Any other questions for me? And then you'll see on the last page of the encumbrances, that is just our Lingo Construction purchase order to continue paying Lingo for the projects that we have going on and finishing up and wrapping up. And I believe that is all on those, unless you guys see something.
5D is activity fund accounts, cancer fund. I think they're both cancer fund, aren't they? I don't know what they do.
Yeah, they are,
Yeah,
yes, they both are for the cancer fund.
okay. Motion.
Make a motion to approve item 5, A
Second.
through D.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wellstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 6, discussion possible action to adding a policy for using metal detectors under BC safety programs.
So just a little bit of information here. We asked for some policy for metal detectors. Now, the weapons detection system are metal detectors. They're just versions of those with AI included. So it's all included in the same policy. What's also included in this is, wanding of students and things. So it's inclusive of all of those things, not just the weapons detection system. But we felt like we needed to have a policy in place for the use of those and how we utilize them. This policy was the most generalized and covered everything. The other option that we were presented with when we asked OSSBA had things like every third person, and this says the same things but more generalized, not specifying we have to do it this specific way. But it covers all the same things. And then of course at the bottom there just talks about communicating this with parents and things like that. So we'll add that part to our handbook and things like that. But should cover us for use of the weapons detection system and metal detectors, whether it's at games, activities, at school. And it would go under BC currently. That's student safety. That's just another item that fell under that category.
I have a question about the policy. So you would have to fall under one of those 3 things if you did metal detecting at an event. So what would that be? Like administration has a reasonable cause to believe?
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, that line can mean a lot of things. You know, is that because there's been incidences around the
Oklahoma,
area
yeah.
or Oklahoma? I think so.
Right.
Because there's been incidents here at school, I think so. So I felt like that was generalized enough that pretty much anytime we felt the need to even have these in place, we could utilize them. At the same time, if we felt like, you know what, I don't think we need to use these anymore, it also gives us the leeway to say, you know what, we don't feel like any of these 3 apply, we want to stop using them for a time. And I don't know that we would do that as much as we're paying for them, but I think it gives us the flexibility both ways to say, you know what, we believe we have a reason to do this, and so we're currently going to do it. And down the road, if we feel differently, we can say, you know what, we don't feel like we need to do this right now. So.
Well, the way I read that first one, the administration has reasonable cause to believe weapons or dangerous objects are in the possession of students or other persons.
Yeah, the second one is actually the one with the pattern of behavior.
Of objects found at the school or on school property at school functions or in the vicinity of a school.
The other part of that too is that's where it also covers the wanding of students. So when we have a vape detector go off and we have the students that came out of the bathroom, we have reasonable suspicion in that to do the wand part of that.
For vaping? I think it's good.
Okay.
I'm for it.
Have a motion on 7?
I
Or
make a
6,
motion.
on 6. Sorry.
Motion to approve item number 6.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wellstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 7, discussion possible action on the district's capacity of students in each grade level at each school site as presented.
So the only change to this is the pre-K numbers. We were able to fill our pre-K number back to 80 on the last time we approved this. We were at 79. We were able to fill that back to 80 as we planned to. So we are, as you can see, at capacity in all grade levels. Those capacities have not changed or are not suggested to be changed at this time. So this would be approving it kind of as they are. These are our capacities currently.
Motion,
Motion to approve item 7.
Second,
roll call vote.
Jaggers,
yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wellstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 8, board to consider and take action on the Bethany Children's Health Center agreement for fiscal year 24.
So the Children's Center agreement has not changed other than the amounts that will be exchanged between Bethany Public Schools and the Children's Center. The amount is just different by $1,000, and so there were less students that we're providing services to from the Children's Center this year. However, the foundation factor is higher, so they kind of offset, and there's just $1,000 difference. It's actually $1,000 less, but we came out pretty well just because of the foundation aid incentive factor. So not a lot of change at all.
Motion to approve item 8.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wellstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 9, discussion of possible action on the following contracts agreements for fiscal year 24. A, all for fun rental agreement in the amount of $800. B, Bolero event contract in the amount of $1,184.95. C, Enchanted Mirror events contract. D, Silence activations equipment rent in the amount of $800.
Ask a question of this one. I don't think it's an issue with approving it or not, Bolero, but I do see that the account is listed under a parent's name. So I just wanna ask the business office if you foresee that being an issue, that it has the parent's name as the account. It does say Post as Earl Harris Elementary School. Do you foresee that being a problem?
No, I don't.
Okay.
What is silence activation equipment? I couldn't tell from the contract what it was.
Is that for the musical?
Is it?
I mean, because it was headsets and, or is it for?
I'm getting back to the original. Hold on.
Okay.
Just one second, I can tell you.
It's got Nikki
it's
Slayton's name on it, like the other one does.
It's probably part of this thing.
So I'm guessing it might be connected in that way.
It's missing, the request is missing. Do you remember who requested that?
It's for the elementary.
It's for the
It's for the
elementary.
elementary.
Okay, I knew it.
Okay.
They have like a silence.
Are we talking about the silent disco
Yeah,
party?
okay,
Mama?
that's what I was thinking it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
sorry, I
sounds
was
like-
I was trying to read that and I couldn't remember far. We are having a reward party for our PTO fundraiser, and it is a silent, like, dance party, I don't think it's disco, but silent party, and, so they'll all have headphones, and it'll be set up this
Okay.
month. So hope you approve it, cause in like a week, but it's just a reward for those who earn that set amount, and so it'll be fun to get to see. I've always heard of people doing this, but it'll be interesting to watch this. So I hope you approve it and come, because I am very excited to see. But yeah, so we can have the equipment for headphones and all that.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought it might be mine, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't see who it was tied to.
I like the idea of it being silent.
Yeah, I know. Me
Great.
too.
From this end, I'm
It's
sure
worth
over
all
there.
the money.
Motion to approve item number 9.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wellstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 10, discussion and possible action on the following out-of-town, out-of-state overnight trips. A, Dr. Bellows to the AASA conference in San Diego, California, February 15th through the 18th, 2024, to be paid from the general fund. B, Mrs. Chitwood to take 2 students to OK MEA All-State Festival in Tulsa, January 17th through the 19th, 2024. C, Mrs. Belich to take 11 students to OMEA All-State Music Festival in Tulsa, January 17th through the 20th, 2024. D, Mrs. Belich to take 10 students to OCDA Junior High School All-State Festival and High School Jazz All-State in downtown Oklahoma City, January 11th through the 13th, 2024.
So I'm gonna apologize up front because I missed some things on this. This one's all kinds of messed up. I'm sorry. So for Mrs. Chitwood to take 2 students to OK MEA, we accidentally deleted her attachment, and you're not gonna be able to see her attachment. That's a typical thing that I believe they do every year. We can get that attachment re-uploaded later. And then there were 3 other. If you were in earlier, there were 3 other attachments for trips also on there. The attachments made it on, but they didn't make it into the agenda line item, so we will have to put them on January, but none of them take place before January, so it will be okay for them to be on the board meeting. And I apologize, I just missed that.
Motion to approve item 10.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Plummer,
Yes.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Staff reports. Comments, questions?
What's going on? Ms. Williams, one question.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Project 621 federal funds. Tell me about those.
So that is the federal funds that we receive for our child count. So that's just kind of like the general special education
Okay.
funds.
Okay. And you noted on there the shipments of instructional materials and
Oh, did
curriculum.
I say 621? Is that correct? Did I put the wrong?
No,
I
you
think you're right.
you were thankful for the Project
Yes,
621
yes.
funds, and I was just kind of curious what type of
Did I
materials.
put the wrong number? Is that right? Is
I'm
it
pulling it
621?
up. I'm pulling it up. 621 is correct, yes. You purchased supplies from 621.
Those were our ESSER funds.
Yes,
Our-
that is correct. Yes.
So you guys approved all of those purchase orders, because we had a carryover of ESSER funds, and so we were able to purchase lots and lots of items, which the teachers are so thankful, and they're finally starting to arrive. The deliveries are pouring in, and so it's nice for them to get some equipment, and that's thankfully due to that additional ESSER money.
Thank you.
And the snowball dance went.
It was a success. We sold 53 tickets at the door, so
Oh, wow.
70
Oh.
through the week, and then 53 at the door. So lots of kids, lots of movement.
I told Ms. Donnelly, the only thing I heard was they wish it would be longer, so next year I think we just suggest they have like a
Yeah.
4-hour dance.
Yeah.
That's my vote.
Headphones.
So yes,
Silent disco. Middle school probably needs that more than elementary.
I would agree.
Mr. Jewell, can you give us an update on esports? I mean, I see on here, I mean, that's a new item for Bethany
Yeah.
Public Schools, so.
Yeah, so they actually had their first round of playoffs last week for, this one was for Super Smash Brothers. They made it to state and they won their first round, and then they actually, I just got bad news tonight from Douglas that they lost their second round. But, I mean, just, it was, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but to see these kids who don't typically do anything at school, like get into a room and high five each other and be positive and uplifting and community, it was special. I went and watched probably about a month ago when they were playing a team from another school across the state. It was amazing. I mean, it was really, really cool, and I think it's just going to grow. Next year we're looking at hoping to make it an actual class. Right now it's outside of school. We're making it like 6 hour or 5th hour, whatever hour works, where it's an actual class. And so just like you would for football or for band or for choir or drama, making it a class. It was really cool. It was exciting. So they made it to state, and then they lost in the second round.
How many kids do we have participating in?
I don't know off the
These
top of my
sports.
head. Miss Douglas and Mr. Forrester might know more. It just depends on the team. So there's like different sports, different areas of expertise. Like there's 6 kids that play Super Smash Brothers that are like, that's their jam. And there's 12 kids that play Mario Kart. And then there's kids that play League of Legends. And so it just depends on the area. I can't give you an exact number off the top of my head, but I know it's decent enough where it warrants a class, for sure. So we're gonna try to have it a class next year. I don't know who's teaching it, but we'll figure it out.
You might be teaching it. Huh?
Yeah, I might be teaching it. An old Nintendo I'm okay with, that's about it.
Okay. Executive session, do we need to do?
Probably maybe just real quick.
Okay.
If that's all right. It'll be short.
I have a motion,
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Do we need our computer?
No, no computer.
Oh.
During the executive session, only the members of the board and the superintendent were present. Only items discussed were those listed on the agenda, and no votes were taken. Do I have a motion?
Did you go to the next one?
Do you need a motion?
I need a motion on the items. Well,
13
I
and
guess
14.
they're listed 13 and 14.
Motion to approve items 13 and 14.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Jaggers,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes. Item 15. Push that wouldn't roll off the screen.
Informational items?
There, I'm still catching up. I got 2 more. There we go. 15 informational items.
All right, we've got a couple things here we're excited about, or some people are excited about. I should say the first one is Polar Express Teacher Appreciation Hot Cocoa Train is on Tuesday, December 13th, 2023. Somehow that was created around me, and then they said, hey, you get to be the conductor. So should be fun though. The plan is to go around and deliver hot cocoa. Anything else that I'm leaving it that I haven't been told yet on that?
Well, you've seen as you're going the Polar Express song,
Sure.
and there'll be passing out candy canes and hot chocolate with marshmallows.
And punching tickets?
Yes, yes, you have to punch the tickets.
People, they should turn in a ticket. We need a video of this, please.
Okay, let's move on to the next item before any new ideas come up.
We'll make sure that we get that taken care of.
That's
great.
That'll be fun. Just a fun way to get around and say thank you to teachers. Also, first ever district Christmas party, Tuesday, December 19th, right after school. And cool thing about this is we've actually partnered with the Bethany Schools Foundation and the Masonic Lodge down the street. They're going to provide the location, and then I think the foundation and them are going to split the cost to make that possible. We're going to have that catered and have some entertainment that I was also told that I would be participating in, and some games, and just again kind of a fun way to get together with the staff and show our appreciation of everything that they do.
We'll be
So
sending
those-
your invites.
Yes,
And
you guys.
you don't want to miss his performance.
And your performance.
Oh no,
That's right.
I would never agree.
No, yes, you did. Yes, you did. I remember that conversation. So yeah, so those things are coming up.
Board member comments. Nobody's got comments. Okay. Superintendent report.
Very good, thank you. A couple of celebrations. Mainly want to celebrate the foundation. We had our foundation meeting to approve grants. Right around $40,000 in grants were approved. And I know a lot of that was due to amazing fundraising they did at the auction. It was fun to go around and present those awards to the classes and students, so enjoyed that recently. Some extracurricular activities. Cheer was the state runner-up at game day, and we're going to invite them to come and celebrate with us at the next board meeting, but we want to celebrate them. We also had, Palm had a showcase this past Sunday, and they did awesome. They've been working, and they compete this coming weekend in Tulsa. Basketball has started up, our boys and girls, middle school and high school. Boys opened up with a win on Friday night, and both teams will open their conference play on December 5th in Kingfisher. Girls play at 6:30 and boys play at 8. We also have a tournament coming up, Christian Heritage Tournament, this coming weekend for the boys team, and they'll also have a tournament at Harding Fine Arts. They'll play at 8:30 p.m. on December 7th for that. And then the girls team will play their first tournament in Mustang Holiday Classic from December 28th to 30th. Our swim team has had a couple of meets so far this season, and will compete at Midge Park in Edmond this Saturday. Cross country, of course, we recognize them today, but we also wanted to acknowledge that Coach Zach Colson was the Oklahoman Coach of the Year.
That's so awesome.
Just one acknowledgement for him and the job he's done, and I would tell you that he kind of mentioned a conversation that we had. I just said, hey, so do you just motivate the kids to run as fast as they can run? And I really thought that's kind of what you do. Like, hey, boys, run as fast as you can. Maybe we win it. And he goes into all these details that he described tonight about, well, no, our number 1 and 2 have to be here and there. So then I got to watch the meet from that perspective, and it was a whole different experience because I'm sitting there counting, like, okay, there's 1 and there's 2 and 3. It was, and he's right, it played out just like it needed to, and I think it just shows the difference of his expertise and the job he's doing as a coach, not to just do what I would have done, which is, hey guys, run fast. So glad we have him coaching our team and not me. And then we've got some fine arts doing some amazing things. Orchestra, straight superior ratings in the regional contest. 2 alternates for All-State. Band had a great concert this past week. Announced a king, Jake Wiggins, and a queen, Allie Jones. And we also have 1 student who made All-State in that. And then choir had 11 high school choir members make All-State and 1 alternate, and that's the most that we've ever had in Bethany Public Schools. So we're excited for the success they had. And then to the schools, a couple things just want to commend. 1, the middle school teachers pet program. We've not given enough attention to this, but this is something that they started, I believe, just last year, and it's really just, they got together and said, you know what, we want to just show our middle school teachers how much we appreciate them also, so they will have treats for them, meals for them, and just, again, signs of appreciation. And then, of course, our PTOs at every site and our foundation do the same thing for all sites, so we appreciate them. And then also just want to commend the schools on their report card. You know, the report cards are something that we look at along with a lot of other things, so it's not the only thing we look at. And there's a lot of nuanced things with the report cards, but to consistently be performing well on that report card and well above most schools in the state of Oklahoma as a district is really, really special. So we appreciate the job that they're doing, along with all the other things that we look at apart from the report card to measure where we feel we're at. And it just goes to say that we're a great place for kids to be. Also, good to see some elves on some shelves today. Several principals got up there and greeted kids in their elf costumes, and I already told Mr. Jewell, get ready for next year. Gave him 1 year off.
Hey, I didn't know that even existed.
And, gave you a year off, but we'll get his costume ready for next year. And then last but not least, just want to just say thank you to Ms. Brenner for 18 years at Bethany Public Schools, Teacher of the Year, teacher, team leader, and then guiding the EL program. Just appreciate all that she's done and all the different things she's done for the district over the years. So appreciate her service, and glad that she's able to fully retire, and wish her well in that. So that is my superintendent's report.
We're adjourned.